The AIDS pandemic has had a devastating effect on sub-Saharan Africa. This section of Africa contains 10% of the world's population, but includes 2/3 of all HIV-positive adults. In Kenya alone, a country with a population of 38 million, over 1.5 million are living with AIDS. As we speak of devastation, the 1.5 million are just the tip of the iceberg. Although the death rate due to AIDS has been decreasing for several years, the country has been left with an estimated 2 million AIDS orphans and no infrastructure to handle them. With no government agencies or orphanages to support the orphans, their only hope lies with nonprofit organizations and family members. With an average annual income of $1,300, which is about 3.3% of the figure for the United States, most Kenyan families cannot afford to feed another child. As a result, roughly 1/2 of the orphan children end up living on the streets, usually in one of the larger cities. Try to imagine, if you can, 1 million children living on the streets of your state. The Kisumu Street Kid program was developed by Life for Children Ministries to provide support and hope for the thousands of children living on the streets of Kisumu, the third largest city in Kenya. In John 21, the conversation between Jesus and Peter gives us a good insight into the things that are important to Jesus.
When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter,
"Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?"
"Yes, Lord, you know that I love you."
"Feed my lambs." "Simon, son of John, do you love me?"
"Yes, Lord, you know that I love you."
"Take care of my sheep." "Simon, son of John, do you love me?"
"Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you."
"Feed my sheep."
Life for Children Ministry is currently supporting over 200 orphans. However, it has become apparent that the number of children living on the streets of Kisumu is continuing to increase, and their situation is becoming desperate. In 2009, the ministry began providing a Sunday meal and worship service to all who can make it to the field rented by the ministry. Volunteers provide a hot meal consisting of rice, beans, and ugali. Occasionally, donated chicken or fruit will also be served to the delight of the boys. The meal is preceded by a time of fellowship, singing, and a message of hope through the saving grace of Jesus Christ. Attendance ranges between 1 and 200 boys each week. Many of them come with wounds or malaria. Medicine is provided as the funds permit. This outreach has recently been expanded to another location where a meal and worship service are provided for 30 or more boys living in a city dump. It is truly a blessing to see the response of the boys each Sunday. However, we are just scratching the surface of what God's Word is leading us to do to help the least of the least. Too many children are dying each month as a result of disease and their living environment. Talking to a 12-year-old who has lived on the streets for half of his life is not something we can accept as just the way life is. A study by the ministry in 2012 resulted in an long-range plan to restore children to relatives in their home village, provide food, shelter, clothing, and medical care, and offer opportunities to continue education.
For more information about how you can help support this vital ministry, please see the How Can I Help section of the Street Kids of Kenya website.